For some reason, when adversity comes to us, we think that we're somehow being outed or selected, or that it's unfair, or that there's some special treatment we're getting, and it's just like bad luck. And that's not reality. Adversity is really normal. It's bound to happen because we live in a broken world.
And I think it's times like that we can look at like that mother and you're like, oh, she grew up in a great home, blah, 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 blah. Or we can look at like the truth is she faced adversity, whether she grew up in a great home or not, she still faced adversity. And she chose to not let it label her, and she chose to not let it label her daughter.
When someone starts believing that hardship or pain defines who they are, the effort stops to move forward, the hope is gone, and the growth slows down. And over time, all of that potential that we have inside of ourselves, it gets buried. And not because it doesn't exist, but because that belief in trying and the belief that I can get through it, it goes away. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined virtually by my co-host, Coach Mia. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And if you just tuned in, I want to remind you that you can actually listen to this show anywhere podcasts are streamed. Every platform, Apple Music, Spotify, you name it, we're on every platform. If you are a visual learner and you want to see us, you want to see the studio, you want to see us in action, go over to our YouTube page at the 5-Star Life. Check us out there. All of our shows are posted there. And we have a new program partner channel called Your Home TV. Go to yourhometv.com to check us out there. But we're talking about adversity, how to thrive through adversity. And Mia, we were talking here a couple weeks ago, we were kind of catching up after the holidays. And one of the things that just kind of spontaneously came up was like, man, it's amazing how wonderful Christmas, New Year's, having time off is. It's awesome season. But it's amazing how in family life, there's always like adversity. There's always there's always a battle you're fighting. There's always adversity. And it just made me think about, our listening audience. We have mentioned before that we have a 5-Star Life app. And the content of what we're talking about today on the show, talking about how to thrive through adversity, will go into a series on our app. And so I think I want to just make a note here before we dive into this. If you're a grandparent, a parent, or a teacher, and you're like, man, this content is good. I'd love to have this conversation with my kids, or so-and-so should have access to this to go through this as a family. That's why we took 3 years to develop our 5-Star Life app. It's an incredible tool. It is, it's really a world-class app that you have all these master classes that by topic: how to build confidence, how to master conflict, how to thrive through adversity, right? All these different master classes that you can use as a tool to start doing a family session, take a half hour once a week to sit down as a family. And some of you're like, that's intimidating. Like, I'd like to do that, but I don't know if I could do that. I'm telling you, we can walk you through it. It's user-friendly. It's really turnkey. And if you'll commit to it, I believe it will transform your family. It will re-engage your unit. So you can check that at 5starlife.org. Actually, you can just go to Google Play Store or the Apple Store and type in 5-Star Life, and that app should be the first or second thing that pops up. And just download it, and it's pennies in the dollar to impact your family. So be sure to check that out. All right. I last night at our Lift program, we kicked off a brand new 7-week, our 7-lesson series at Lift. And it was so good because the whole purpose is to take kids who are struggling in school at home. They're defiant. They're making terrible choices, and their families are struggling. It's so fun to be able to help them. I heard a mom last night, Mia, that literally was in tears. And she's this beautiful mom who is, she said, I feel like I've done everything right. And she wasn't saying she was perfect. She's like,
Right.
I've sacrificed, I've worked, I've taught my kids, I've trained my kids, I've prayed for my kids. Like, everything was going good. And then all of a sudden, she's like, and she's holding her face just like in tears saying, how did I get here? Like, I feel like I have no hope. And I have this heavy sadness that's just with me all the time. And it's so fun to be able to just say, I hear you. Thanks for sharing. But today it's turning.
Right.
And to watch her walk out of that room with tips and tools to help her get back to believing in her daughter, to get back to a place of perspective. Like when you're at a low place, we talk about this in our curriculum actually. When you drop down, we have these three different states that we live in and out of. And up here we're clear, we see everything's possible, we see opportunities and possibilities. But when we're in the fight or flight mode, we drop down to this place of depression or anger, rage, where it's anger. But the deepest place, Mia, is this place of depression, despair, and hopelessness. That's where she was. And science and biology proves that when you're there, you can't grasp, you can't see solutions. You're not even
Sure.
open. And so the first step was to get her to take some breaths and to bring her back up so she could actually get clear again. And so it's fun to
And
walk parents through that.
sure. And I mean, for her, she's there for an unfortunate situation, but at the same time, I mean, look at what she's getting. She was forced to see this, forced to see hope, forced to be in a situation. So, what I love about Five Star is we, give those people hope.
And the reality is, most great change doesn't take place until the pain threshold rises to the point that it gets our attention. It's the
Yeah.
interesting thing about human nature. I think when we're in the zone and we're brilliant, when we're at our best, when we're in our God nature, we don't wait for pain. We're ahead of it. We have the vision.
Yeah.
We're excited. When we're up here, we're actually living in a different place. But when we're down here, it's like it has to get really bad before, and then somebody has to intervene. There has to be intervention. It's the legal system. It's the court system that then refers them to Five Star. So
Hmm.
it's this really difficult circumstance, but it leads to just beauty and unity and hope for these families.
I just want to go back to something that you were saying about like with the app, because I think it's also an opportunity. You were saying that some people might be intimidated to do with their families, but I personally, to watch a video, it changes me.
Mm.
So, I mean, this is for everybody. If a parent wants to just to get the app and watch our master classes or go through as a curriculum season, it's great to start with you.
That's a great point. It's for everybody. I think
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons that Lyft is such a powerful program is because, it's for the kids and the parents are along for the ride. And so the parents always every cohort, the parents say, "I am getting more out of this than my kid." And their kids are getting something out of it. But that's
Right.
because at our age and our maturity level, we have way more life experience to understand like when we are getting truth and when we're growing than adolescents do.
And how many times do you hear parents say, I don't, especially mothers, I don't take time for myself. You know what? Even watching a lesson, that's time for you.
Yes.
And I just think it's a powerful tool, and we just need to let everybody know about it.
It's a great tool. And that's something we tell all the parents when we sit down with them, just like, that the reason this program is powerful is because all we do is we give you two things. We give you margin. You're forced to be here, so you're forced to take time to deal with this issue. And then what we do here is and I hold up a mirror. We just give you a time to look in the mirror and evaluate who you are, where your family is, where your kids are, and take a look at that. Let's deal with that. And then does that image reflect where you want to be?
Mm.
And what's the discrepancy between where you are and where you want to be? And let's start to, instead of staying in the cycle of being stuck in this horrible place or frustrating place, let's start to get some vision of where do you want to be? And let's take one step towards that. And they get momentum little by little. And it's like all of us, we want to win, but if I don't win today, I'm not going to get momentum. And I think
Right.
so many parents are just so overwhelmed. It's like, where do I start? And I think Five Star gives them that place to start. And I think the app is a great place to start
Agreed.
to be proactive. So we're talking about adversity. And adversity is something that for kids, a lot of kids don't understand, Mia, that adversity is something that everybody goes through. A lot of kids, they don't understand that like everybody goes through it. They think that it's just a unique human experience for them. Like nobody else can understand.
Why is that? Because other people don't share about their adversity or kids don't ask?
Because they're so wrapped up in themselves. They're so self-focused that they don't have time to look around. And that's why talking to kids can be interesting, because you start talking about your life, sharing a story, and all they'll do is latch on to how it relates to them. They'll start sharing their life. It's not a fault of theirs. It's just that's where kids are at. They're focused on themselves, right?
Yeah.
So
Me.
yeah, and the wild thing about what I'm about to say is that that the average emotional intelligence level of an adult is 13. So most adults are right there with the kids. And when you think about that, that kind of plays out. It kind of makes sense. We got to take another break. We'll be right back after this. At 5-Star Life, we talk a lot about the right tools. See, the hammer is the courage to be the best person you can be. The chisel is the respect you give and the respect you earn. The level, that's the integrity that keeps you balanced in a world that's always shifting. And the saw represents responsibility. It is what separates you from harmful actions and experience. It's the sacrifice it takes to work hard and be your best. Tools, when they're all used together, things are built. There's progress, but where there are no tools, there can be no progress. We give these important tools to kids every single day, and we couldn't do it without our partners like Global Link Distribution. Global Link supports this mission so that these values, courage, respect, integrity, responsibility, and sacrifice become the tools these amazing young people use to become great. Global Link Distribution is a leader and supplier to the RV, manufactured housing, cabinet shop, cargo, and horse trailer industries, but they're also a proud sponsor of this program to help 5-Star Life students thrive. It is our turn to see to it that our children have the tools that build greatness. Volunteer or donate today at 5starlife.org. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, joined virtually by my co-host, Coach Mia. And we're having a fun time talking about how to thrive through adversity. We just were in studio here filming a lesson for kids that will go from Michigan to Florida and wherever people are on the app. It's going to be a great 7-lesson series teaching kids how to thrive through adversity. And what we opened this whole lesson up talking about is like every single person listening and watching this is facing adversity or has faced adversity or will be going through adversity. It's guaranteed. There's no exceptions. It may look different. It may feel different, but no one gets a pass on hard things. Life's just not fair. Or actually it is fair. we all go through some different things. And some kids, they're facing adversity on the field through playing time issue, injuries, pressure, high expectations from coaches or themselves, or maybe parents. Some face it socially, rejection, bullying, relational issues, and some feel adversity in school. It's falling behind, bombing tests, feeling like they're stupid when they're not. And then there's adversity at home, chaos, instability, things like, absence or addiction or just conflict in the house. And then there's this group of people that their adversity is something that nobody else really sees. It's really hidden. And that is the tough stuff for kids and families: foster care, trauma, loss, violence, neglect, or just being a part of a system or a school or a team that's just failed you. And there are different stories of adversity, but the same reality. Everybody's going through some form of adversity, and people listening to this show, the story is no different. There's adversity. And I always like to think about it this way. In life, I used to think that life was like a roller coaster. You go from adversity to adversity or from high to low. And I heard Rick Warren say something that I thought was brilliant. He said, I used to think about it that way too until I discovered it's better thought of as a set of railroad tracks. There's always some adversity in your life. There's always something you're going through. And then the other side of the tracks, there's always something to be grateful for. There's always some beauty,
Mm,
something that's amazing. And I think that perspective is super helpful when we think about adversity.
that's a great way to look at it because I think so many people just get stuck in that life isn't fair and like you know what I mean. It's all about me. This is only happening to me. So I love that.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that we think is that we think for some reason when adversity comes to us, we think that we're somehow, being outed or selected or that's unfair or that there's some special treatment we're getting and it's just like bad luck. And that's not reality. Like adversity is really normal. It's bound to happen because we live in a broken world. Um, so it's not a sign. This is what we told kids. Like it's not a sign. If you're going through it, it's not a sign you're weak. It's not a sign that you're broken. It's not a sign that you're behind. It's a sign that you're human. It's a part of the human experience. Now, the question isn't whether or not you're going through adversity or whether you're going to go through adversity. 100% you will. The question is, what are you going to do with the adversity? Because how you answer that question, how you go through adversity is really, adversity can either build your life or it can bury your life. It's going to build you, it's going to bury you,
Mm.
one of the two. And it all depends on how you go through it, how you look at it. And adversity buries people when that adversity defines their identity. When that adversity attaches their identity, it buries them. Um, when someone starts believing that hardship or pain defines who they are, the effort stops to move forward, the hope is gone, and the growth slows down. And over time, all of that potential that we have inside of ourselves, it gets buried. And not because it doesn't exist, but because that belief in trying and the belief that I can get through it, it goes away. And
So
so
you're saying like it's not like this like for kids if they did something wrong that like I'm a loser, and they just kind of live in that space. That's what you're saying, right?
I'm
So
saying
that's how they get buried.
100%. Yep.
Okay.
And even this is interesting. So last night there was one of the dads just mentioned he was talking about his son, and then he mentioned something about how creative his son was and how he's like, but I'm not creative, so I can't help him. And I let him finish. And I said, I want to come back to something you said. I said, you said you're not creative. That's not true. He kind of looked at me like and said, this is, and I already told them like you're going to be challenged in this program. So I said, this is the first challenge of the program, you guys. And Michael, and so anyways, I challenged him and I just said, listen, you are creative. We're all creative because we're made in the image of God and God is creative and we're made that way. So we're all creative. And I said, it's interesting. NASA did this study and they tested 5-year-olds and they found that 98% of 5-year-olds were considered creative geniuses. That's how they tested. They tested them 5 years later. And I forget the percentage, don't quote me on this, but it's something like it went down to 40 some percent were creative geniuses. They tested them 5 years later at 15 years old. Something like, 14% were creative geniuses. Then they tested them at adulthood, 20 years old. And it had totally flip flopped. I know these facts are correct. I don't remember the middle ones, but from 98% creative to only 2% creative by the time you're 20. I said, so
Wow.
we're all creative geniuses at a young age, but then life, failure, people's words, bad
Hmm.
experiences, adversity, it beats us down. It becomes a part of our identity. We no longer identify with who we are and what's inside of us. We identify with the failure and with whatever the story we tied ourselves to.
Yeah. Wow. That's shocking.
So, it's really interesting, and I've told in this series I talk actually in a previous series I mentioned me. You've heard me tell this story a million times, but there is there's a game I lost in high school my junior year. We were ranked in the state, and I lost the game-winning shot in the conference championship game. And that when I missed that shot, I'm telling you, there was a whisper, "You're a loser,"
Mm.
and it was trying to a missed shot, a losing a moment, and losing experience. That adversity was trying to attack my identity. And if I wouldn't have separated my identity from that moment, I wouldn't have won any more games. I probably wouldn't have taken the last shot, right? But
Right.
but I was able to separate that moment. I drew a circle around it. I put it on the shelf. I studied it. I said, okay, that's a moment. That was a bad moment. I'm gonna learn from this to make me better. That built me. But if we don't do that, what does it do? It buries us. It paralyzes
Sure.
us.
So how do we teach kids to not get buried or how to get out of that?
I think the first thing we talk in our curriculum about this whole, the three states that we live in and out of. And I think at
Mhm.
that top state where it's called the ventral vagal, where we think anything is possible. We see hope. We see happy, smiling faces. We can connect with people. We can get advice. We're not threatened. We're not sensitive. It's the dream state. And then the next state down is like fight or flight. It's where we are maybe aggressive. We're not sure if we need to defend ourselves. We get feisty. We get maybe angry, and depending on what happens, we might go all the way down to the bottom of this ladder. We call it the bottom state is where we just shut down. So the first step, if you want to deal with adversity properly, like if you've already dealt with adversity in a poor way and you've trained your nervous system to shut down, if it's been trained to shut down, the first thing before you can give somebody a pep talk, it's like you have to help them take some deep breaths, because deep breathing helps all the noise calm down. And it helps them literally just by breathing, focusing on their breath and clearing their mind. It literally helps them come up a little higher where now their nervous system and their brain, there's parts of their brain that is now working, and they can see things a little differently. So like breathing, listening to music, or having that person that helps you calm down. Exercise. There's several ways to kind of regulate your nervous system to get to a higher state. That's the first step.
Okay.
At that point, then it's doing exactly what I just said to do. Okay, the failure. Let's look at it as an event. It happened. Draw a circle around it. Let's dissect this event. What happened? I didn't see the guy coming behind me. I didn't see the guy in the corner that was open. I had tunnel vision. I should have saw a guy that was open my team. I should have kicked it to him, but I didn't know there was a guy behind me who ended up blocking my shot, and I lost the game because I got swatted at the end of the game. I
Mm.
I processed all of that, but I didn't need to go into, and I felt horrible. You feel horrible. I dropped down. But I had people around me that helped pull me up and walk me through this process of let's learn from this, let's grow from this. And the next year, I ended up hitting many game winners, ended up winning some big games. I hit some clutch free throws, and it wasn't triggering. Like big moments weren't triggering for me because it wasn't tied to my identity.
Sure. How did you know at that age to do that? To take the situation and kind of dissect it and kind of heal from it, really?
I think it was just the grace of God and a good family support system and good people around me.
Yeah.
Nobody broke it down the way I broke it down. That would have been really helpful.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think we just learn and adapt, and then you have people to help you process it. It's really powerful. And we're out of time. Thanks for joining. Go to 5starlife.org.